Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing? It is as I get here and punch all of the buttons. I got to check the tire pressure, check the oil. It all looks good. So we are on our way. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that. As I get in here and then I go over here, you have to use the turn signals. You know what? People can't read your freaking mind, so you have to use the turn signals. And so that's what I was doing there. But now we're
Mm.
on the bus and we are ready. So thank you for tuning in. Welcome everybody in the chat room. Thank you also to those who listen on replay. Big shout out to our good friend Marsha Price. You remember Marsha?
Yes, I do.
So anyway, hi Marsha. We
How
love
is
you, girl.
Marsha?
She's doing well, she's had some challenges like the rest of us, and in many cases.
Oh,
So anyway, Marsha, we just send you bunches of love and
always.
thank you.
My sister. I love Marsha.
In fact, Marsha will be forever imprinted in my psyche because her and I were doing the show when Brian passed, when we got the word. In fact, you were the one who had talked to his mom, Brenda. And so when we had come right off the air doing that live show, you know, yeah. So anyway,
Wow.
that's one of those things you always remember. So folks, thank you for tuning in. Again, if I didn't stay up, and I know I didn't, this is a second look. So if you're
I
here,
am constantly surrounded by the love of Marsha.
see, I got him over there
I
myself.
she is I mean, look what she made for me, Wayne.
Ah, yes.
Isn't that
Folks,
beautiful?
if many of you don't know who Marsha is, go back and look at it's within the thousands of videos, podcasts. They're back there. Marsha is back there. And
Yes.
she is so very talented. And I'm like
Oh,
you. On my desk, I have four pyramids. And
uh-huh.
so we got the pyramid power going on. But anyway, let's just speak favor to everybody real quick. Nothing missing, nothing broken. So thank you. Trina, how are you, darling? And I see that Jenny is
Yeah.
logging in. So it's good to see you.
Yay.
How's your week been?
It's been great. It's
Yeah.
hot. It's
Yeah. It's
oh my goodness. It's hot. It's a little humid. It's just summertime is kind of rough in Phoenix. Everything kind of slows down. Work kind of slows a little bit. Everything tries to slow down because it's just really, really hot. So yeah, but
we
good.
had we had
Yeah.
springtime in the summer, but not this week. Holy freaking what the I mean,
I
it's like
heard it's
walking on,
bad.
it's like you're in freaking Indonesia in the freaking tropical jungle. I mean, I walked out and my glasses fog up because it's so
That's what I
fucking
heard. What do you
hot
guys
and
got?
it's so fucking humid. But
Yeah,
anyway, other than
90% or
that,
something today for you
something
guys?
like that. It's just
It's
it's
ridiculous.
you know, my plants are loving it. That's all I gotta say. Am I
Oh,
any?
right on.
Yeah,
My plants are burning.
my plants.
Uh-huh.
They love this shit, man. That's all I got to say. So, hey, Jenny, how are you, darling? Looking fabulous down there, sweetie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I've had it's lovely weather here. I've, I'm here
Rub
and
it
I'm
in.
Mm.
thinking
Thanks a lot.
it's so hot here and I've got nothing to contend with. So yeah, but I've been out all day in it, so I don't want
And
to say
Jenny,
too
your
much.
cheeks are red. I can see that. So you've been out
Yeah,
looking at the
yeah, I'll have caught
sun.
the sun for sure. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been dancing with the sun from about 4:30 this morning. Um, it's now 6. So yeah, I've had a productive day.
So I'm curious, Jenny. So in the summertime and the summer solstice, when does the sun come up in your part of the world?
It's so changeable right now. It
Well, I mean,
really is.
what is it traditionally? Does it come up like at 5 o'clock in the morning or
Usually
5:30?
about usually about 5:30 at that point.
Okay, all
It's
right.
coming up around 4:30 right now, between 4 and 4:30. And they're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But we've had some weird weather where I've known it's sunny, and there's been a magic blanket of cloud just appear, but without the other elements that would usually come with cloud, like drop in temperature or humidity or and there's been some weird old rain. So I won't say too much about it for YouTube, but very manufactured weather this last week, and now it feels like it's very much so the natural state. The skies are open and free today. You can feel the sky breathing, so it's
Well, if
nice
they can
today.
manufacture reality, they can manufacture weather. I mean, it's like I nothing surprises me,
You
and
see the planes. I'm right next to the airport. Well, not right next, but just down the motorway is the airport. Um, and
I
so
love that
I'm
the
right in
motorway. We would say the highway,
Freeway,
down the
yeah.
Oh,
road.
the highway, the
The
motorway.
highway or the freeway.
It's
Yeah.
like it's a
Yeah,
high, yeah. Anyway, the motorway. I love that because
Yeah.
that's yeah,
yeah, the motorway. I don't know why that is, but that's the fastest road you can go on. So it would be like your highway, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Except
Yeah,
except Jenny, y'all drive on the wrong side of the road.
we do, and we're being
It's
so
like, what's
limited.
up with that? Who started that?
Who started roundabouts? For goodness sake! But
Exactly. Those were
they're
the most, that's a sick mind. That's what that
No,
was.
oh,
you know
that
Yeah.
what's so funny? I wonder if they do that on purpose because of the way that the charges run on a battery. So you got to figure the water spins the opposite way for them than it does for us. And they have them drive on the opposite side of the road as us. I have a feeling this is about negative and
So who
positive
created the
charges.
damn roundabouts? Those are the most insane things that I mean,
they
why?
are
Probably
they're
the saber that did the braid.
Canadian, but
They have
all
them
of
in
the
Denver.
foreigners,
You're
yeah, the
driving
foreigners.
along, the road is straight. There's not a freaking problem with it's straight.
Mhm.
No, they got to come in and they put in one of these roundabouts and no one gets it right. I mean, do you move from the left to the right? Does the
So
right
the
move to the left?
rule is
You know?
the this is the rule. As you come up to the roundabout, you have to look to your right. You have to give way to anything that's coming to you on your right.
True that.
Everything on. So the next lane should do the same. So if you're there, they would give way to you. So it's supposed to act like a filter, but
Yeah.
we've got so many foreigners coming over here now and driving, and for some weird reason, you can drive. Say you're from Iran, you can drive on your license without taking any lessons of the British road for a year. So there's a lot
Sure,
of foreign
that's
drivers
good
on your
common
road.
sense. Yeah.
Well, it is, but they don't explain the roundabouts at all. So, of course, the foreigners are looking at us and beeping as if to say, "What are you doing?" And we're like, "We're trying to give way to you, dude. Just we're being nice." So it's a free for all now.
They put him in Denver, and it's been the story of many road rages incidents.
I can imagine. I
You
can
know,
see it.
people swearing that you cut them off, and they're doing like you doing. I mean, you try to merge in and what have you. Oh no, no.
Oh no, 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 no.
So
So you've
just
got it. You just try and get out of a roundabout as quickly as you can. Try not to brake. Going down the gears and up the gears is the way to do it for sure.
Bonnie says, I
Uh,
like roundabouts because they force people to slow down because people drive like idiots. There's a lot of that out there, Bonnie. I mean, the freaking people are
they,
nuts.
they're
It's
just driving like it's over them though. Now we've got speed bumps everywhere that ruin cars. They're called sleeping policemen. They ruin cars, they ruin suspension, they ruin your wheels, they make further potholes at either side of them. The fire brigade, the ambulance, police get slowed down by them. The joyriders who steal the cars love them because it's a built-in ramp. It's like they don't care about ruining the car that they've just stolen, so they just ramp themselves off it.
I
Everyone,
could see a speed bump coming into play. Here in America, Jenny, they have uh, Chrysler puts out builds a car called a Hellcat,
Yeah.
and they come in an SUV. They come in different models, but they're 1,000 horsepower. And 1,000 horsepower. I mean, when I worked in NASCAR, they were putting out 700 horsepower. I mean,
Yep.
it's just Could you imagine a Hellcat, something like that? Boom.
Yeah,
Anyway,
so you anyway, I'm on the flight path after all of
yeah,
that.
that's where you
Uh,
were originally talking about.
and you
You see
see
how
the
we did
number
that curve, folks? Y'all didn't even see that coming, did you?
professionals. You see the normal planes going back and forth, holidays and whatnot, and commuting, and then you see these other planes and helicopters come over, and all of a sudden there's a magic pattern in the sky. You're sneezing like crazy, and then there's a dispersed blanket, and it's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's conspiracy theory,
Mm.
Sure. Actually, we got
Sure.
the evidence. Yeah, that's not
So
at
what
all.
y'all think about the ceremonies for the Olympics?
Well, if you really want to piss people off, I mean, listen, everyone has a right to believe
Yes.
whatever they want to, but there's a thing called, decorum, and why would you want to piss off a third of the world? I mean, I don't get it.
They're trying to spark that though, because now you look online, which I've avoided since the Olympics, Trina, because I'm exactly the same as you. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stay off my phone again for another week because you can feel that magic spell, and it was all spell work.
That's all it
You can,
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that they're
And they
literally.
admitted it said it had the effect that they wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that's it. They've got people ignited. So now they've got division everywhere. Christians feeling defensive. People coming after Christians to take fun from them. You've got all of these divisive lanes that were created just off, I don't know what's playing. Um, Divisive playing fields that everybody's going on. And you can see the divide happening, can't you, Trina? It's just like boom, they dropped that bomb that night, and all of a sudden there was civil unrest between
Yep.
all of these religions, all of the vitriol, taking sides. And like you say, there is decorum, even if you've
It's
got a
common
lot.
sense too. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go up and insult a person who was Muslim.
It's so funny. I
It-
think this is just pure speculation, but I think it's like it's a distraction for what the actual focused was. Because when we look at the stuff done prior to, they opened up with kids and beds and stuff and face
Oh,
diapers and stuff.
yeah,
And yeah, and now this one is mocking and this one is
well, you
offending.
know what? They
And
closed the
then they
openings.
showed the beheading of Marie Antoinette. They showed that, right?
Well, then
Mhm.
they closed it with the pale horse.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So if you're
What the
looking at this
fuck? I
symbolically,
mean,
this is really kind of spooky, and they're getting people to fight
this is
instead of
some
seeing
messed
the
up
message.
folks.
Yeah.
I mean, they could not have broadcast this ahead of time that this is what they were going to do because they kept it under wraps as,
Yeah.
well, it's the opening ceremony now.
Right.
But, someone like my show yesterday, someone went into the control room and said, all right, we got to do this and this. So where is that person's mind? Are they channeling something that they're announcing to the world that death, pestilence is coming? That's what the pale horse is.
It's
Yeah.
already here. A lot of
It-
the work right now, so it's already here.
Well,
It's
all
already
I know is it looks like these things are like they show you what they're doing next.
doing,
So
yeah, yeah.
people
Not
better
even
pay
next, I
attention.
think, showing what they're
they have to
doing
get
now.
your permission or at least have you mentally assent to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not consent. I said assent, which is a key difference between consenting and assenting. See,
Legally.
I can believe in what you're saying, but I have faith in what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
what you're saying.
exactly. Yeah. Hey, Gaia. Chloe, good to see you. Loretta, Scotty Boy, Red Herring, so many wonderful people. Paul, Joe, and I see Go from Croatia. By the way, got an email. Let me get my notes. So, where is the opal fields in Australia? Apparently, there is a region in Australia that there's opals. They dig
Uh-huh.
in the ground. It's freaking well. we got listeners there.
Shirley's just in the chat saying that her sister is in the Paralympics from Australia this year, fencing. So your sister must be very strong, but Shirley must be in Australia, I think, in the chat.
Wow.
Yeah. So many
Wow. Love
wonderful
you guys
people.
in Australia.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't pronounce the town. No, I won't even attempt it. Could set back the foreign relations of a continent, of a nation by 10 years. So, ladies, the theme for today, I thought, was, we're in this weird thing of what we call, I don't know, reality, right? And it's like we're balancing on this seesaw. And the purpose of a seesaw is to keep your balance. Find someone that where the two of you can become equalized in that. Because if you get someone that's too heavy, then the person that's lighter is going to be consistently at a disadvantage. So it seems like the way things are going, Jenny, you just had a terrible incident right there in your region with the children. Two children dead, 11 injured. It just seems like we're being constantly pushed and we can't keep our equilibrium here. And I think that it seems to be almost purposeful. As I said yesterday, we're in the Mandela effect. It's really freaking weird to see it happening right before our eyes. So just want to get y'all's perspective on that and how you see it, because we're all seeing this madness. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's very sad what's happened. It is very sad what's happened in the UK. But again, it was a Taylor Swift, and they've made sure on the mainstream
Was it her
media
concert?
no, it was just a small, in the holidays, there's lots of different
Yeah.
holiday clubs going on. And so it was just a small privately run holiday club that people had paid for to entertain the children a little bit for the week, I think for the holidays. So it was literally just a small class but it was Taylor Swift centered yoga.
Yeah.
So of course they were all young girls from the ages of 6 to 11, I think it was, or 7 to 12, one of the two. So very young. But again, in the headlines, it's been the Taylor Swift, that name. And they use that name a lot on the magic stage, very much so, to put out things that, like Trina mentioned before, that with the Olympics. And so instead of us getting to the bottom of it, it's people again hooking into that spell without even realizing that they're hooking into a spell through but the story of it is that we are deliberately being pushed, and the prognosis for a good revolution would rely on the capacity of the people who are being ruled over or oppressed over to, like you said before, Trina and Wayne, to maintain decorum. That even during revolution, even if you're winning some sort of war, there's a decorum level that should be met by any adept. And they're pushing from the top with these headlines, these divisionary lines, and then the people that are next to us, not all of them are doing that inner work, not all of them are doing that dark night of the shadow, and they're being triggered so easily. So it's dangerous, and it
I'd say
feels
the vast
dangerous.
majority of people are not. I mean, the way the program works, it's designed to keep you from doing that inner work. I
Mhm.
mean, you're constantly being.
What's
Go ahead, hon.
yeah. Got to
What's
keep
that?
you outside. You can't connect to inside if you're being
Yeah.
just completely traumatized with the outside world. So this is definitely what's going on. I see an interesting correlation too, because 11 children and then two deceased, correct?
Yeah.
That's
I believe that's what I
13.
heard.
And
Yeah,
that's the
13. Yeah.
number.
And that's
That's
Taylor Swift's
tattooed.
number.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly
Yeah.
what I was seeing, the correlation between that. I was like, that's
Oh,
interesting.
What's that,
it's
Jenny?
right there. It's the death card in the tarot as well, Trina, the number 13. Um,
Yep.
it is death, and also I don't know where this has come from in the back of my mind, but the prime millimeter is 13 millimeters of the uterus wall for a woman to be able to conceive, for the
Mm.
conceived uh, uh, to attach. So at the beginning there's 13, which is for the foundation. So where there is birth, there is death. Where there is life, there is miscarriage, and it comes down to even the layers of the inner dermis of the uterine wall. It's precisely 13 millimeters when they do IVF that they would aim for to create a viable pregnancy. So that's, I don't know where that's
Mm.
come from in the medical thing that I've got, but
That's amazing. I didn't know that. And that's a powerful 13 connection. And that's one I needed. So thank you.
you're
Yeah,
welcome.
I didn't
You
know
saw
that. That was brilliant.
know it again till I've just known it there. But I know that I know it. I know that it's from nursing or something. But that filing cabinet opened up there when you said that. So you're right,
Mm.
you needed that bit to connect what you were already saying, that it's very deep. This magic goes so deep. And Trina just saw it at a glance and intuitively knew enough of it to know how deep it went. I didn't know what Trina knew there with those numbers. She confirmed that for me. So together it builds that picture, doesn't it?
Well,
But
13 is
Yeah.
actually a very lucky number.
you
I've always found it to be.
It's
If
one
you
of my
play,
favorite numbers.
when I play roulette, I'll always, 13 and 29, and I have won fucking big on 29. But anyway, I digress. But
Mhm. Mhm.
I've never
Yeah.
been in a casino.
you haven't. Well, Jenny, we got to get you over here and, let you experience that. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh,
Where's
um,
she? She's down at the slot machines again.
anyway, like no one else here ever gone into a casino. Yeah. They even that what always gets me, and allow me just to opine here. So you have all these things that in this religion where I come out of Christianity, the do's and the do nots. And, gambling is one of the do nots. Yet in churches, they'll have casino night using fake money that you come in and you buy, but you're contributing to the church. But they're doing
And they
it through, a simulated gambling environment, of which they preach on Sunday that you're not supposed to. Do you see how confused this gets?
it's okay. It's an organized religion. It's okay.
Now you're doing the Biden thing's freaking me out, Jenny. You know, how he
Find those
comes
words
up and
up.
whispers like, that guy just freaks me out at times. It's like, holy crap.
In those words to better for sleep.
Ay, ay, ay. But anyway, getting back to this whole thing that we're seeing, because the Olympics thing, just wrapping up with that. I mean, that's kind of the shock thing. And and you shock people. Typically, it's not for a good reaction.
Mm.
And I'm seeing this like all over the freaking world. It's like, where does this lead to? I was on the treadmill this morning just meditating on this. And I think it gets this buildup to where they continually to push this in the human psyche, the collective.
Mhm.
And eventually, the laws of nature says that a pendulum cannot stay in one position, that it will always react to the equal force by which it was pushed.
Yeah.
yes, indeed.
My interpretation on that was, holy crap. I mean, that it's like they're purposely trying to build up this energy bomb that when it starts with the momentum, as all cycles do, it could be cataclysmic.
Absolutely. And the main thing that's being said right now is the divisive line of this guy was born in the UK. He's not even a guy, he's 17 years old. The boy who did it. and straight away on all of the call-ins on the radio and stuff like that, it's all about the fact this Taylor Swift thing that's being pushed, and the fact that yes, he was born here, but he's got parents from Rwanda. They're foreign. So even though he was born here, he has a British passport, not a Rwandan passport. That they're really pushing the fact that, but he's Rwandan really, because his parents came
Was there a
from
reason
Rwanda.
for it?
Well, they're not saying anything more as to reason or not reason. They're not, but they're making very much about where he's from, nothing about him, his upbringing, or how, whether he has any mental health history, or it's just about him being foreign. When he's actually not foreign, that's factually incorrect. He's got a British passport. He was born here. His
You
parents
know,
came from there, but they're trying to
I,
push that division.
wouldn't it be wonderful if we as a society, as a culture, would become so much more aware of our souls? I contend that the vast amount of the world's souls are sick. They really
Mhm.
are. And our doctors and physicians can treat the body, but we hold it off into religion to treat the spirituality, but it's just another band-aid that is already infected. Where imagine if we ever became a culture where we would first look at the person's soul, their condition.
Mm.
Imagine if we had instruments that could actually see that and measure, and you could see that if a person, was soul sick. Because why inflict violence on another human being if that soul isn't broken, diseased, or do you see where I'm going with this? I mean, we can say
Absolutely.
mentally, obviously there was something wrong there. Yeah, that we get that, but wow, I wonder how much tragedy we could avoid if we would just as a society and a culture look inside first. Teach our children that their souls are so precious that they are to be cherished and nurtured and built up instead of the cruelty that we see in this world. And I know I was a victim of that. Um, I don't know. Maybe I just think in different ways. What do y'all say, ladies? Don't allow me just to continue to dominate the conversation. That's like so male.
I think it's actually our
Carry on.
foundation.
What's
Most
that?
religions preach when most children are traumatized in Sunday school with the whole,
Oh,
if you
hell
don't do
yeah.
what you're supposed to, you're going to go to hell. And then other practices, they've got in India, they've got the demons and the jinn, and you got all these stories of these ghosts and these ghouls and these devils and these satans and all these things that are going to get you. It's literally to program fear and compliance instead of freedom and trust and love and support. It's completely the opposite. And it's the same thing pushing you outside, keeping you from inside. Because, like you said, if we did nurture the soul and
Yeah,
nurture the power of the individual, we would live on a different world.
I
We
think
would.
we would. I really do. I'm
Mm-hmm.
convinced of it.
Yeah.
100%. 100%. It is about that. And you can actually do that when you tune in. You can actually find, I have the capacity to not hate. Um, I did hate some things for a time in my life, and I felt how destructive that was, how cancerous that was inside of me. Um, and so I don't believe or know, I just know that there is this capacity in self to still be hurt by things, still be affected and affecting with things, but to not get to that point of hate, like that you would want to take someone else's life, that you would want to harm anybody in any way, even those that have really harmed you. And so I know that's possible, like Trina knows it's possible, like you know it's possible, because we don't hold that capacity to hate. We refuse to. But that has taken a lot of inner work because, like Trina says, that these souls are being afflicted. It's death by 1,000 wounds, like
Is
but
that the role of
more.
the spirit to help, perfect the
Well,
soul?
I think it is. I think the star card is the spirit. And I think but like Trina said again, 100% earlier, that it's all of this externalization and victimization of self from such a young age that you're getting slashed, your soul. And I'm so careful of my children for people or me slashing at their soul. Even when they've really messed up, even when they're really being naughty, I can be firm without ever making them feel less than for whatever emotion that they're feeling. And the way that we invalidate children through all sorts, and again, Trina, you're so on point that we know that a child being just shown or exposed to a story of horror and terror has exactly the same scarring on the brain in those pathways as a child who has actually been physically hurt by horror and terror. Children's imagination is so strong and the brain's so developing that those scars can happen just from a story from a Bible study group, a play group at Sunday school, and can happen also from actually being whipped and lashed and nailed to a cross and bleed. It's the same scarring happens on MRIs in the brain, uh, regardless of whether you're physically exposed to it or psychologically exposed to it. And so that slashing is happening in the physical and in the spiritual and on the soul level. And everything about religion, politics, headlines is about take it outside, look for justice outside. So it is
Interesting.
about soul.
I'm just reading some of the comments. I love the diversity of thought in these groups. It's quite
Yeah.
interesting because we see it from so many different perspectives, and each of us have our own different take on that. But we're here, and we all seem to be exposed to that same thing, and it kind of gets into that whole issue then. Um, the soul. I mean, it's interesting when the Book of Enoch was saying that this God, I don't think it's source, but I think it's called God anyway, that we gave these giants a soul. Wasn't the fallen angels? They didn't have one to begin with, but we did, and apparently we're able, which is really strange because I don't really see much study on this, that if in fact that these beings, these creatures that were not created by God, he said, I didn't have anything to do with their creation. Y'all
Yep.
did this. That I was meditating on that more and more. The implications of that are huge because what he is saying is that we are in essence gods ourselves. If we can
Bingo.
create something that didn't exist by the big kahuna, then holy crap. And then if we, in fact, gave this hybrid type soul to these, what we now call demons, that hate us because
Yep.
they don't have the original soul, which is apparently the perfected soul. Do you see how quickly that it begins to get really weird because we're fighting this unseen force, these unseen beings, if you follow the narrative.
Mhm.
But as the point is that we are gods. We created something that apparently had never been created before.
Those unseen things aren't so unseen when you start having dialogue with your unseen realms. So
Yep.
we put so much emphasis on this physicality. And yes, we should. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Thank you, body. Thank you to everybody's body for doing amazing work every millisecond of every day. That is amazing. So there's no greater than or less than, higher and lower self. Contend with those words because it puts a thing in people's minds that one prevails over the other when they all have to work in conjunction. And it's all about the fact that those when you tend into those unseen realms of self, they become very apparent to you. I feel my spirit pushing on through when the body's getting tired. I feel it, I know it just as much as I know my arm pushing on through when I'm trying to get that nail through into the wall. You know, like I feel it coming through. I feel my soul sort of come in at certain points for me to navigate better. So when you're tending and working with those unseen parts of self regularly, unquestionably, knowingly, not believing, but knowingly, these beings aren't so unseen at all. They're very apparent. You agree, don't you, Trina, that you can see them very clearly? It may be feeling them, vibrating
If
from
you
them.
can't, just get brave enough to dive into your own body, and you'll feel and see all the different entities that exist within you, influencing your reality, your emotions, and your body. And it's coming from within you with the connection that you have to the stars and the planets and the solar system and the ground and the earth and the people. All these things you're connected to, and they're all affecting you, even down to the biome and the psilocybins and all these different chemicals that we're interacting with. So this is quantum. It's
It
full
is, and
quantum.
So,
Quantum.
ladies, my next question then, and I have it written down here, and I wasn't even on the discussion point, but since you were talking about quantum down that, so is a spirit merely the conjunction of atoms?
well, everything is really.
Well, no,
You
no, let's
know,
stop and think about that. If we talk about
No.
reality, then
Mm-mm.
there is the possibility of an anti-reality. And the reason why I'm just saying this is that, again, in my meditation, is that, wait a minute. So if matter is basically this configuration of molecules, atoms, etc., and then somehow it's manipulated into different forms of matter, how can my spirit be atoms? Because
It's not. I don't
yeah,
think it
you see,
is.
that's where I kind
I
of came
don't
up. My
think that
spirit
does
would
not
be
resonate
higher
with
than
me
that, right?
at
right,
all.
yeah,
Yes, does
Yeah,
not
totally.
yeah,
resonate with
yeah,
me at all.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, spirit and soul, they need each other to operate
See, I think
properly.
soul is more of the
Properly.
construct in this side of the equation, where the spirit is of a source that I don't think
Spirit
we
is fire,
we've been fine.
soul
Yeah.
is water. Spirit is fire, soul is water. And the multiple layers of existence of that, it can be in multiple states at the same time. Water can be in multiple states, so can fire.
What if it's
So
the spirit that's actually the activation of the fire in the water?
it's the spark
You know,
that hits the water,
it
like
flows through all.
conception. Yes, it
Yeah,
Conception.
yeah,
creates. It
yeah.
creates the life, just like a pregnancy, the conception. Soon as that sperm hits the egg, boom, there's a flash of
So,
light.
by the way, why is there a worldwide shortage of babies? We're
Because
seem to.
they need to stop the power of us collectively. We're getting too strong. There's too much light on the planet now. So
So
it's causing a problem.
Is that going to
it's
call for a culling?
Oh, they're gonna try. That's why
I think they
that's
are
why
going
the
to
pale
try.
horse just came. They just showed the pale horse, the
I
beheading of
think
Mary
those rotten
Antoinette.
sons of
Come on,
bitches
guys,
are
they're
going to
showing you
try.
the plan. They're showing you. Wake
Guy
up.
says plasma. I like that. I never really. Yeah, I'm sorry. What's that, Jenny?
that's how
Yeah.
I see it, Gaia plasma, and it feels it
Yes.
definitely feels foreign to the atoms that slow down to make this physical reality as real as it can be. You know, it definitely feels when that spirit pushes through me, I definitely feel a burst of something foreign that is foreign to this body. But so it feels like it's outside of that, a step away from the physicality. It in tarot, it would be the chariot card for me, the major arcana and that's the unseen realm, things happening there before they manifest in the physical world, and that's the chariot
Yes.
coming through the sky. But with the chariot, you have to have equal yoke, because the chariot is being pulled by two beings that are the yin and the yang. And if you have an unequal yoke of divine feminine, divine masculine, that chariot will split. And that's the old story, isn't it, of the chariot splitting through the sky. So for me, it would be chariot, definitely. But What did you say after that? Totally missed the point there, but that's where my spirit
No,
is. And you go into spirit, and it's replenishing sometimes to be able to step into these different parts of the unseen self, to really let the physical body rest, or really let the physical body just be automotive, going with the routine of the garden, and that's when you get into real intercession. So like Gaia said with the plasma, for me it is the middle space where you marry up these different fractals and parts of self, and you create that spark. And that's intercession for me. That's where I go to when I'm interceding.
interesting word, Jenny, interceding. When
Hmm.
when I was in the prayer ministry, we used, that's what it was. It was, intercession.
Session.
Yeah, we would and it's strange because so much of what I went through and taught as well is that I see it now just in a different way, that the soul, and whether it's the soul or the spirit, I think it's more the spirit, to be candid with you, because in the spiritual battles that we encountered, I didn't sense a soul at all. I sensed that there was defining forces of nature, of which all of us have. Some of us are warriors, some of us are not. But yet there seems to have to be this battle that takes place even in the ethereal realms that impact us here. And
Yeah.
I'll share this with y'all. And I don't know what's happening, but as I see the world stage starting to play out, I'm starting to see, for instance, Kamala Harris as a reptilian. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, she's a bona fide reptilian. You find that funny?
Yeah, I just do. I just think it's hilarious because it's like I think she's in the company of amongst many, but
Trina,
What's that?
see those words Trina's just said. I'm laughing because I think she's in the company amongst many. And I was just thinking, yeah, you can't really pick
yeah,
one out at the minute that isn't.
Say what?
Sorry.
she's
Trina,
just
you were
definitely not alone, Wayne. We agree. We don't
No,
think
I'm
that
not.
she's alone. They're just surrounded
Well, I'm
by
glad
them. I
you
mean,
got a reaction. I wasn't expecting that, but
yeah,
you
like
know,
they're just everywhere in the upper
yes, that's it.
echelons. It's
yeah, but
pretty much.
okay, I won't mention again. I mean, it's not that I don't doubt you on that. So let's just move on then to the next topic.
Yeah. That whole situation to me is so funny what's happening on the politics right now. I can't help but laugh because it literally strikes me as funny because it's so silly. What we're seeing happening is kind of silly. I don't know.
And it's the same here, Trina. It's embarrassing that they're not even, it's like, are these the best actors you could get? Like,
Yeah.
did the pool dry up a little bit, in the families that are allowed to participate? It really is silly at this point. They're arguing like toddlers. They're
Yeah, yeah,
just,
yeah,
it, it,
it's even so hard for me to watch lately because
verbalize. Yeah.
once you start to see what's happening, it's just like this is just a puppet show, and this is just completely amazing how this has gone on for so many thousands of years. It's like, are we over it yet? I mean, come on. I don't know. It's tough, but it makes me laugh because sometimes if
Yeah.
you just what are you gonna do other than just laugh at it all? Because kind of you have to. It's like if you don't, it can wreck you. So I'm choosing to laugh.
Me too. Not participate in the other side of it.
No, no. Mm-mm. I think that's the best thing is to just pull back from it and don't let their story become his story.
Yeah, those fears that they're
So
trying to plant. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, as we say, we all have different perspectives, and you know, So just go
Well,
on
you're
with
calling
the.
her a reptile, Wayne.
Well, no,
It
I
seems like
mean,
we're
what
kind
I
of on the
meant by
same
that
track.
is that I didn't mean it metaphorically. I meant it literally.
I
No, we
know.
mean it literally.
Yeah.
I'm totally
But
100%. Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I agree.
well,
I
Yeah.
agree.
And like I said, it's to me, it's funny because, you know, a lot of people are just coming to this realization that this might be an actual potential. But for me, I've just been looking at this for such a long time. It's like, for me, it's probably more of a foundation of our reality than a
Mm.
potential. Yeah.
yeah. Well, be that as though it may, it is a fact that there are not all of us are human, as they would say. And that one I
Yes.
don't think really is. But then again, they seem to be more in power. I mean, and the realities that these forces are bringing into it, I hope that our discussions, it seems that there is this unfolding coming and it can't be stopped. And I often wonder, no matter how much we dissect it, intersect it, it seems like so much of what we discuss is never going to amount to anything. People aren't going to do anything about it. And
No.
we basically sound like idiots, basically, trying to look at a situation. And we keep saying that we have the ability to affect it, maybe even alternate. But so the evidence would say that we're failing miserably on that because they're ushering in something that I often wonder, are we truly, do we truly believe what we say? And why isn't that showing up in more of an action?
It's a
Well,
very strong. Go on, Trina.
I just see it throughout history. It appears that we may have gone through these great resets before. So
Hmm.
if this is about a timeline and we're getting ready to go into another reset, this would be like, you don't see a lot of positivity through these great resets because there's a lot of trauma involved with these resets. But what if this is the end of a major cycle and we've been in a dark age, Kali Yuga, for a long time, and now we're shifting into a more light side? That shift from the solar logos energies, that entity that's going to be coding our physical reality and our physical bodies, with that shift, a lot of the darkness is going to probably leave the planet, but it's not going to be overnight. And trust me, they're not going to want to give up this planet. So this is going to be brutal. And if it's a big reset, like they're saying it is,
So
this is
does
what we're looking
reset
at.
equate to death?
Yes.
Many deaths? You see, yeah,
Yes.
there we go.
Every time. Yeah. A lot.
And then
I think
so
a lot, Wayne.
yeah, it just looks like we're so much of a species that is, again, if it always comes to a culling, which is, a reaping of death. Wow, that I was talking about reality yesterday. That is a really messed up reality. And if that is this cycle, I know the doctor had read your comment yesterday that, we're in cycles within cycles.
Yes.
Mm.
Yet it seems like, and maybe I just have, I look at this with such empathy that when you see human beings already, whether you want to believe in prophecy or foretold or being planned, just a lot of death.
Yeah.
And it just seems to me so needless. I mean, if is this the way that the cycle works, or is it remotely possible that there is a better way that we could come about without this bloody end, so to
I
speak?
think it's both. I
And
think
Scotty
it's
boy,
both.
I get it. I'm just I'm just giving the ladies a little hard time.
No, I
I
think,
think it's both. You're right, and you're right in that it's got to be that it's been very apparent for a long time that these cycles are as they are. And to be honest, if it maintains as it is, it doesn't look good. I'm not happy with the
Because
occult
that's going to be a
side.
harvest of souls. I mean, how
Yeah,
does the
yeah.
other side handle that? I
And the
mean,
way that they're doing it, well, the way that they're doing it actually is locking in the other side a lot as well. We spoke about it last week, didn't we? With the way that somebody exits is just as paramount and important as the way that somebody enters, in
Yeah.
that we should be speaking beautiful words into the waters of a womb when it's carrying a child. We should be doing that at the start, and we should be doing that at the end. And that kind of ending would impact the spiritual space beautifully, just like it would here, because it would be that reverence for life, that reverence for beginning and ending. Now, that in itself should be the cycle, and that cycle in itself, those cycles within cycles that represent the beginning and end of something new, like the doc said, in that it's that's the organic, isn't it? And when there's reference given to that, actually it will impact the other realms of the unseen of self and others, because you seed in beautiful energies in the beginning and the end. There is a reason this war machine cycle that started. I don't think it started that long ago. I think a lot of the stories have been left out about I just do. I think the war machine cycles that we see are very much manipulated cycles. The problem is, and why I'm the same as you, Wayne, I think in a lot of ways on this one, is that it takes it takes the people, the many, to create that big manifestation, and too many are still falling for the divisions, the things that would cause very different cycles to play out, birthed from ego not being kept in balance and check, birthed in fear, um, again, and they then impact the cycle that we just spoke about, being the beautiful natural one, that they're not kind to their pregnant wives, or the wives aren't kind to the man of the house. This war machine has birthed many different cycles that actually impact the very important cycle of the beginning and end, the 13, like we said at the start, the foundation.
you so consider this. We talked about how you can speak to water, the vibration, etc. But think about this as far as humanity is concerned. So if I were to go back to, say, in 1850, a human being born into this world would be influenced only by the vibration primarily of the mother, the father, or the immediate family. Nothing else. There wasn't radio waves out there. Then you look into the 19th century when we brought in telegraph. We were beginning to learn to use electricity in, number one, carrying our voice, our frequency, our vibration. That then expanded into the 20th century where we actually had radio, later television. So now any baby being born in, let's just say, the 20th century would have been influenced in its formation while it was still in its mother's womb by invisible radio waves coming in that we ourselves, we cannot hear, but if I have a device, I can tune into. So they're permeating our very fabric of existence. My point to all this, what if these radio frequencies, and now we have Wi-Fi, we have high radiation that's now being programmed and shot throughout all of our bodies. I contend, and it's just my theory, that the babies being born today, their souls would be different than a baby being born where there was no artificial vibration, radio frequency hitting that forming of that life. It's just a
Mhm.
thought.
It's 100% right. We
Because
know
you
that
think
from
about, go ahead,
last
hon.
week. With the lights that me and Trina was speaking about, and the autism rising, what has happened? You look at autism rising, and there's many reasonings, the food and whatnot. But if you look at the timeline you've just spoke about, i.e. the sort of technical age of the different ages that we've gone through, of this technical availability and radio waves around, you can see that the graph correlates that, and we know that these frequencies interfere with brain waves. We know that these children are hooked up so telepathically to their consoles, to their phones, to their, we know that those waves are they're very adept at doing that. It's second nature to them because they've been saturated in those waves.
Can I finish that out too? What I think the purpose is? You see, I think this may have been the Nephilim. They were once, you see, hear me out on this. So, taking from the book of Enoch, we know that God can't judge them. He says they can do whatever they want. There's no judgment. They were from a divine spark of a higher intelligence than what we were in our formation. What if they're deliberately changing the frequency of the world to be more in tune for allowing them to come back into the world?
That's exactly what they're doing, but they're not above us. We're above them. That's why they needed us. Yeah, they need our soul.
We're their creators. That's in essence what we are.
Yes.
That's the irony. Yeah.
So anyway, it's just a wild thought, but it's all connected, because what's happening to this world. And again, when I saw Kamala Harris and I actually saw this reptilian face, it kind of freaked me out I'd never seen that before.
Really?
No, I've done shows on, how we can get the camera, but I've never actually physically experienced looking at an image on television and then actually seeing this back face into this thing. It's the first time I've ever seen one.
Well, Wayne, when I was a little kid, I got to see one.
That's what kind of took me when you started
bedroom.
laughing. To me, it was very shocking. I mean, it was for me, I saw this.
I saw my first one in my bedroom when I was a kid. I saw
I haven't
one.
seen it, but anyway, what's that, Jenny?
Seen a freaking reptilian. So no, to me, it's hilarious now because I didn't know they could be in humans like that. And then I got older and I found out they can hide in humans. I didn't know that when I was a little kid. And I saw this one in my room and I was like freaked out, but I know these things are real because I've seen them. So
that was my first experience, literally, seeing that.
It shocks
you.
you.
I apologize for the sisterly outburst of laughter because that didn't make sense to you with you saying what you just said there. I do apologize.
Yeah, I almost felt like you were kind of mocking me. And
no, not mocking you. I'm just surprised.
Yeah,
I'd put myself in an arm lock if I thought that. I would never mock you. I would put anyone else in an arm lock that mocked you too. Warning.
Anyway.
No, I promise you that didn't come from a place of that way, and I'm so sorry.
No, that's all right. But
because you're right. But I feel like I've seen it for a long time, and I absolutely presumed from
I don't know many people who actually can see them. I mean, they're very good at. Like I said, this was the first time for me as a human being to see that.
Wayne, when that happened when I was a kid, I mean, there wasn't any references to these things. So when I started researching David Icke, because he was the guy talking about the reptilians, and that made me.
Is it Icke or Icke?
Comfort. Icke. It's David Icke. But he was the only one who ever spoke about this, back in the day. And I had seen one of these things and I was always wondering, what was that? What was that thing in my room? And it was very interesting because that started me down a path of exploring. And like I said, when you start to look at stuff, synchronicities, just more of that starts to show up in your world.
Well, as I said, I have never actually seen something like that. So
Oh,
Wow.
I
Yeah.
really
That's
apologize. You should
amazing.
shout at us to stop and say, I think you're totally getting the wrong idea. So yeah,
Right.
it's not at all mocking, and
No, I
it's
thought
not.
for
They're
sure,
very good
Wayne.
at camouflage. They're very good at camouflage, and it's when I
Yeah,
say I've seen
Yeah.
it, like Trina, it's been a childhood thing coming up, which is why I've
yeah.
just presumed, I think. But it's not been a lot. They're very good at it's more been energetically for me that I've picked up on that type of energy coming from somebody rather than seeing. The seeing of it, I think, is quite rare. It's just that I've seen it on quite a few political faces in the last 20 years. So I presumed you had to.
No.
And
Well, that was
Wayne,
ignorant.
Wayne, when you talk about the other beings too, I've had the rare experience to witness some different kind of shape shifting into things that are not reptilians. So you're right when you're saying there's different
Mm.
things. Let
Yeah,
me
there.
tell you, wow, there are. And it's just shocking.
I've
It
told
really
you guys
is. But
about that praying mantis. Do you remember, Trina?
yeah,
I've seen that praying mantis being at the different CERN type portal spaces. And I've discussed it with you two before, that makes itself apparent to me quite a lot. And it's quite perturbing, that one, because it's a very dignified being, it commands a room type of thing. You would say if it was a human coming into a room, it commands respect. And that's the
yes.
frequency that comes off that. And again, I don't think all of them are bad. I think it varies in a spectrum, but this one that always sits with me as if it happened yesterday. The way you probably feel about seeing Kamala Harris like that is that it commanded that respect from me. It made me stand up straight. It made me sort of, doff my cap a little bit. Not because I'm not stupid. It was a very powerful being, this huge praying mantis. And I know that somehow connects into a human body when it's here in this.
They've shown me that it's one of your entity hooks in the body. You have the consciousness of that species in your collective, somehow in our subconscious strata, in our DNA. So I think you're right with that. We do have a very powerful connection to the mantis beings.
Okay,
Are
it
y'all
feels
reading
like
some of the
brain
comments in
is
the
a
chat
bridge.
room? Holy
Yeah,
No,
I
I'm
love the
not.
one
crap.
from Gaia. Gaia says that she's
God.
seen it too.
Oh,
And Gaia was like, but I was raised on military bases. So I'm like, that's awesome, Gaia. I'm so glad I'm not alone.
Yeah, you're not.
Skyheart said, I saw my stepfather's teeth turn jagged while he ate.
Yes,
That's really
Wow.
weird. But like I
that
said,
would be hard.
you
That would be
know,
really hard if it was in the family.
it's
Wow.
like, yeah, because what's the implications of that? But like I
Fear.
said, it was just the first time I'd ever, like I said again, I had ever seen that. And now I'm looking in here in the chat room and it's like, well, I'm like the last one coming to the party, It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
they're
yeah.
they're everywhere.
Yeah,
And
Oh,
Wayne, it looks
and
like
yeah.
that could be true.
you've been like on it. You've been on the topic, and you've spoken with such adepthood on the topic so much. And you've really made a lot of sense on these topics, these different beings being in command of political fields or religious fields. I think that's where we've just presumed, because you have spoken with such knowledge on it.
Well, it's that mask, you can see them by the actions. But like I said, this was the first time, and it really was one of those moments because I had to do a double take. I said, I walked away going, did I really just see that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's what
You
I asked, and
do. You
it was,
question yourself.
yeah, it was one of
You
those
do. I was like,
cognitive, Now, Scotty boy, thanks, buddy. He says, now you're going to see them everywhere. Now, that was the first one. It was just, I really hope I don't because
Yeah.
it's,
Once you see it, Wayne,
Jeez.
it's game over. I hate to say it, my friend, but yeah, you have just opened up a new door, and now you will start to see more. It's unfortunate, but it's the way it goes.
When you
You
buy
know
a
what
new
got
car, you
me
see lots
was
of
the
those cars.
slits, was the slits in the
Right here.
orifice
Right.
area.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, like I said, and I told Lynn about it, and she was like, "Are you feeling all right?" I said,
Right?
Can I say
actually,
to
I'm
you, Wayne?
feeling a little unsettled, you know?
I
Uh,
think as well, though, can I say to you tonight that you should do some intercession, and really focus. I'll join with you spiritually, and I know Trina will as well, and telepathically, because you're right. Those things making themselves apparent to you should be disturbing. It should, when you understand the implications of it or the possibilities of it, and your body and mind is putting all of these connecting dots with the other past knowledge and present and future knowledge that you've attained, and you realize the reality of what this could mean on so many spheres of the
well, I think
reality
just
that we're
by
in.
talking about this, and this is
You've
maybe
helped
just the
process it.
paranoid side of me, is like, I think they record
That's what
those
I
who can
mean.
see them,
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know yourself, like
you
there's a
know?
telepathic. That's why I'm saying I think you should do some commanding of spirit and real intercession tonight, because you're quite right in that
Kaya says
you
they
do need
know.
to line that up.
Yeah, they
You
do.
want to sever that connection because they are very telepathic. And so when they are seen, I feel like there's a almost ultrasound goes off in their brain that, and with the
Yes.
technology being as it is, technology knows exactly when you've
Can
seen
I
it
say
too.
something, Jenny, on that? When I saw
Yeah.
them here, it was really weird. So I went in out into the garage, and it was strange because I was thinking about, and then I had this freaking inner pressure on my left ear.
Yep.
Hmm.
And, I just said, then that's just too weird.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
Nina
take it,
says,
you take it in
channel
Okay.
my
command.
dragon. Yeah, I think you're going
Can
to
I
do that.
can I tell you guys too? When I saw that little reptilian in my room, I've never seen a reptilian like this. I've one other time I saw a hand-drawn sketch of what looked like what I saw. Because what I saw, it was either a baby or it was a very small reptilian, and it was pink. It was coral color. It looked like salmony, peachy coral color. And when I saw it, for some reason, it must not have did its cloak right because I don't think I was supposed to see it. And when I could see it, and I go, I see you. And it looked at me like it was shocked. And I was like, go away. And literally, I felt its heart break. Like it didn't want to hurt me. And it was sad. I didn't want it to be there. So they're not all bad. And they're part
No,
of us. And they're part of us. So we need to know this.
Well, I
yeah.
just love
The other
this
thing,
group. Thanks for the support out there,
yeah.
everyone. Let me listen. I talk about it. I've done shows on it, but this was the first time that, again,
But it
Nothing's
does.
real
and you
till
have
you
that
feel it.
moment, of cognitive dissonance. You're
Yeah,
and
you were right to have that reaction because it does.
Yeah.
There's a connection there. So sever that connection tonight, take that slash that it's caused across your memory bank, and erase it, spiritually with some real intercession, which thankfully you're strong enough and adept enough to know how to do. And so you take it into command because you're right. That image will keep trying to revisit you, but not on your terms. It'll keep interrupting your thought pattern because it is so intense, and it should be, because you're not a fool and you know the implications of and possibilities that the confirmation that you now have is the shifting factor, that with your own eyes you see. And so now you can take that under command, but I do think you should, and that you should close that etherical door, that telepathic door that has been opened up for sure. Um, because
I don't, I
it's
didn't,
not.
I wasn't, I didn't even think I was knocking. I just got to tell
You
you, but
know,
yeah, it's, and I have to say, folks, that from from the authenticness on my side, it was unsettling. It really was.
Yes, it
Again,
should
you
be.
just
Yeah.
question yourself and you're going, because we study this stuff and so much of it is esoteric in its nature. I know we've gone over, but you know, it's it's one of those things that when you actually see it, Nina says your eyes are open. Um, it's
Wayne,
like, holy crap. I mean,
Wayne,
then you
it's the
go,
thing I say
what else
all the
is
time.
also, you know,
Remember, I always said nothing's real until you feel it.
yeah,
That's
then
what
when you,
that's what that is. And that's the difference between thinking and knowing. Because the knowing has the feeling attached with it, the shock, the
yeah,
perception. It's such a different level of wisdom when you're anchoring both sides because the feeling and the mental are locked in that shock. And yeah, once that door is opened, it truly is open. But just remember, guys, this is a part of us. It really is. I mean, this is what they've shown me. The entering into the garden, the serpent entered into the garden. This is when we were blended with this race, and we are part of this race now. And they needed us to get out of where they were stuck. So we might actually be their saviors.
I can tell you,
We'll
I
pay
don't
for
know
the
what we look
license.
like to them, but and I am, and as I'm processing this, so, once you have the shock factor, then it becomes, if I should see it again, I really don't have any desire to see it again. Once was
No,
Right?
enough, you know, there's just some things that just,
you don't need
you
to.
know,
No, yeah, yeah.
like,
You
okay.
don't need to seek it out at
Yeah.
all. You
It's
don't
like,
need to seek it out.
like, there's enough happening. No, I really
And I
don't need
think
that. Thank you.
I think as well because you've been in such high places on the political sphere in your past lives within this life, you
Yeah.
have a way of knowing the impact that that part of this reality has on everybody. You have a inside knowledge of the power of the political field and the church organized religious field, Wayne. And so I think in that moment where I now say and Trina says now you've explained that is that you're right to have said, "Whoa, hold on a minute, stop," because it's well, you should have said that in that it's that because it is shifting, it is moving, and it should be because everything in your neurons in that telepathic moment has been firing off of the implications of this, the physical inside knowledge of the political field and the physical inside knowledge of the legal terms that they can put down over the people or not. The impact of it. So it's even not even more shifting, but I'm just saying it would have been a real whoa, because you're not just being hit with the telepathic frequencies, you're also being hit with the knowledge and the depth that you've built up in your past lives within this life, in the political work that you've done. You've been behind that curtain. And so you know the impact because if you just saw a different being within that skin, wouldn't necessarily be shifted. You've seen other things that haven't shifted you so transformatively in the way and so uncomfortably in the way that this has in the past life of your Christianity and the political sphere. So the fact that you felt that too, I feel speaks to the fact that you've been seeing that, but also you've been able to correlate that with the impacts on this reality in the physical space, but also you have telepathically, which is why I'm saying intercede and close and sever those doors tonight. You can do it, but it's because it's important to do that because it's you felt the spirit within that being, the intent within that being too. So that's been going off in your neurons on the other side simultaneously as well, to the point where you felt it in your year. And so that is a real shifting and serious moment. And that's what you felt, all of those things happening at once.
Well, it was weird the way I felt about it. And I know we got to go, but it was like seeing the movie They Live.
Yeah.
Like I
Ah,
got,
yeah.
it's like I don't even have the fucking sunglasses, so I don't want to even see this stuff. I did, and
I know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard. See, Wayne, this started happening to me when I was a
Oh,
kid, and I had nowhere to go with this information. Literally
Mm.
nowhere to go. But I was seeing this kind of stuff, and it's hard to process. But just
frightening.
know that when you start to open up this way and you're literally seeing through the veil now, it's going to get stronger. But just know you have control. So just know
Oh
you can
yeah.
shut it off, you can turn it on, you literally have control. And I've literally, they're among us, all around us, all the time. You just weren't aware of it. So it's a process to get through the shock of this, but when you really start to see into this reality, it literally turns into the movie they live. It's pretty weird.
And I'll tell you what pisses me off. We got to go. I know that, but they're
No.
jacking with my
Oh,
sleep, you know, and that
yes.
just
Yeah.
Oh
pisses
my
me
God.
off, you
Wayne,
know.
that's a collective thing right now. That's happening on a massive scale. So just know you're not alone with that. So you're not alone. Yeah.
Yeah, every 2 hours is bullshit, you know. It's like, you
Yeah.
get into it
I'm like that.
and,
Yeah.
it's like, geez, want to go put on, some
You
T-Rex.
got the triangle under the bed.
I had it painted on top of the bed. What are you talking
Yeah, I've
about?
got it
Well, yeah,
above
you might
mine.
want to. Yeah, might want to just tell them I'm not having it. So be
That's it.
careful. I'm not having it. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
All
We'll
right,
fly catch
everybody.
those interrupted
Thanks,
beams.
ladies.
Can
Much
I
This
just
love.
was
really
this was
quickly
this
say,
was very good. It turned out much different. And thank everyone
yeah,
in this group. I mean,
Thank
so
you
the
all
thing is
too for
there's
being a part of this wacky reality that we're deconstructing through knowledge and wisdom, and unfortunately, sometimes shocking experiences to get the wisdom that we have. But thank you all for the openness, and Wayne, thank you for finally
oh,
seeing that. That's pretty wow, amazing.
again, I thought how
I'm
they'll
really
and
shocked that you hadn't before, so that was like
no.
shocking to me. But I'm really
And
grateful
you can see the
because
genuineness on my face when you started laughing. I'm going, well, this is not connecting with me. It's like, I'm trying to tell you, I actually saw one of these
yeah,
freaking
and I'm
things,
like,
you
I
know?
can't believe you haven't already. And my God, they're everywhere. And oh shit, really?
I'm so
Wow.
sorry because it would
It's
have felt dystopian for you. It would have
Yes.
felt dystopian for you seeing us laugh because we would never. Yeah, and again,
I
that
know.
your
I
spirit would
know.
have been thinking, "Hold on a minute, they've
Wayne.
never done it before."
Yeah.
Can I tell you the other time I saw
Well,
really a
I'll just
physical?
let us go and then we can talk offline.
Okay, it was cray
Okay,
cray.
All
I
right.
love you guys.
Love
I love you
everybody. We'll
all.
see you tomorrow. And I don't want to see anymore. That's all I got to
Right?
say about that. All right. Bye-bye. Oh, well, thank you, ladies. That was
Yeah. Wayne,
yikes.
the first time I hadn't seen one since I was a kid. And the second time I saw one, motherfucker in divorce court.
There you go.
This this guy was full blown high level ranking reptilian. He knew I knew about sovereignty. He wanted to see if I was going to fuck with them in the court systems. And boy, he was going to destroy me. He was going to kill me. He literally was shooting this stuff in my head telepathically. And he flashed his eyeballs at me and laughed at me and did it all telepathically and was threatening me the entire time. Freaked me out.
You see, I
Freaked
can
me
get that
out.
when they could probably went, but what was so strange, ladies, is that I was telling Lynn is that I wasn't expecting this. I mean, literally, I was
Yeah,
just, and it was so impacting that I'm thinking to myself, that wasn't supposed to happen. I don't think it was
yeah.
supposed to, but it did.
Oh
And
no, that's exactly supposed to happen. It's
yeah,
You've
exactly
just
supposed to
aligned with
happen.
it. You've aligned with it, and that's perturbing as well when things like that sneak in. When you're so good at keeping your etherical doors clean and closed and open when you want them to be. It's sometimes annoying to me when things like that manage to sneak through. I'm like, what the fuck? How did I not shut that window? Like how
But
did
you
I
know what
not
though,
feel that
guys?
coming in?
I,
You
I
know?
think it's because this energy is getting stronger. And there's like Wayne just saw through the veil, like lifetime without any expecting it. This is happening worldwide right now. This is
Challenge.
sure.
happening
It's a challenge
globally.
to your spirit.
It
That's why
Wow.
you
is.
feel challenged by it. It is a
Yes.
challenge of like
Yeah.
you know, you've seen too much, you know, but it's not even, I don't even think like Kamala Harris was on the other side thinking of you, but
No.
definitely would be able to hone into you when you honed into her, which is the
Yeah.
danger of looking at these people, isn't it?
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
part of magic adepthood as well, that it's like that goddess, you know, with the hair of snakes.
Medusa. Medusa.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's made out to be a terrible being, but actually she was terribly used and abused, and you know,
Yes.
as because of
Yeah.
that abuse. And
That's what the
so
problem was. She was. She was abused. I get pissed
Yeah.
off
she was
too.
abused,
Yeah.
and she, you know, she's in that traumatic space. But the thing is to not look at her, isn't it? Otherwise you'll turn to
I think we're
stone.